Thank you for that introduction, sir. I want to thank you, General President Nigro, General President Emeritus Michael Solon, and thank you to General Secretary Treasurer Joseph Sellers and the rest of our officers seated up here today. I'm going to commit a cardinal sin when it comes to speaking, speech writing, speaking. And the first cardinal sin that it'll be is I'm going to change up what I had planned to say. I had my speech planned out. I'd practiced it more than a few times, but I'm going to change up on you. So I'm going to apologize beforehand with this change. And the second thing I'm going to apologize beforehand is that I'm not good at jokes. I don't tell jokes. I've found that I've tried to tell them, and I always get an empty sort of cricket sound in the back when I tell them. So I'm not going to tell any jokes. I'm not any good at it, so I'm not going to waste your time. My change-up looks at the front page of the USA Today article today. It talks about how 9/11 changed America. Vets help Trade Center rise again. It's a great article. It's a good article. It brings to mind and brings to our vision and our view of what our veterans are facing when they're returning. Why did they join the military? What happened to them while they were there? It's a good story. It's not a great story for the person who lived it, but it's a good story to bring us awareness of what they face. And about this young man and the other veterans who are there, it's a good ending. It's a happy ending. Because now he has a career, he has a job, and he's dealing with all the issues that he's faced. And that's what Helmets to Hardhats is about. To a great degree, I can relate to this young man. He says in his article that he feels that the government saved him. You know, when I graduated high school in Kentucky, I didn't have much hopes. I didn't know what I was going to do. I joined the military. I felt a determination, a pride to help my country, to serve, and so I did. And the government set me on the right path. They gave me training. I went to Philadelphia for my A school. I learned sheet metal, pipe fitting. I was a hull technician on an aircraft carrier. I left the Navy, moved to Pennsylvania, and there I became a sheet metal worker in a non-union company. I was there for 6 years, and I met an organizer, one of my best friends, whose father was a sheet metal worker, journeyman with Local 44. Every time I'd go to deer camp, he'd talk about the union. He'd talk about the great benefits he had, the pride he felt in being a union member. And with that thought in mind, I met organizers from Local 19. And we tried to organize that company. We put an organizing campaign. We lost it by 2 votes. I left and became a member of Local 19. And it's one of the proudest moments of my life. The same pride I feel as a union member as I do of being an American, as I do of serving this country. And that's what Helmets to Hardhats is about as well. It's about making them aware of the opportunities and the abilities that our trades provide. And that's what you do when you support this program. In 2010, we had 869 placements. 869 placements, 39 of them were wounded warriors. All right, so men and women with 30% or more disability have been placed in the trades. Only 6 of them chose an office job. The rest of them chose to go into the crafts. Over $16 million will be spent on their training in the next 5 years. Also in 2010, we were struck an awful blow. We lost our funding. You look at it today, it was an earmark. It has been an earmark from the beginning. It went into the House, it went into the Senate. It was a continuing resolution for the Department of Defense. They said no more earmarks, and so many programs suffered. Ours was just but one. And like so many of our trades, our unions, our locals, we've had to lay off our members. We have to lay off all of our field staff, most of our office staff. But the program continues. That is the biggest message I can give you today, that Helmets to Hardhats, the desire to see that our men and women who have served this nation continues. Just as you see in this article in the USA Today, we have to make sure they have quality careers when they return. The same vigilance, the same passion they put into their jobs to protect us, we must give back to them in return when they come back and give them an opportunity within our crafts, not a handout, an opportunity. That's what Helmets to Hardhats is about. We're going to fix our funding. You're going to see add-ons or additions to project labor agreements or community workforce agreements. 1 cent per hour will go on those. That will help our veterans return. That's also a great selling piece, I believe. We'll still attract grants and go to the Department of Labor and Veterans Affairs to look at those issues and the grants that come out and apply to them. We'll get our funding back. May not be to the full strength that we wish, but the program will continue. We'll continue to help those men and women who deserve it. As bad as the loss of our funding was, on October 1st of this year, the post 9/11 GI Bill, which was a sweeping legislation that came through for veterans in 2009, in 2010 you'll see it allow OJT and apprenticeship. So that means any veteran who has served honorably after September 11th for 3 years will have the ability to get paid while they're in your apprenticeship, our apprenticeships. They now get that. It's based upon E5 with the dependents. It's based upon the zip code of the training facility. And they'll also get an extra $1,000 a year for tools, clothes, and whatever they feel is necessary. That's a huge, as bad as the loss of our funding was, this is a huge piece of legislation. And October 1st, 2010, you'll see the post 9/11 GI Bill recognize our apprenticeships, and that's a great, great item. And as I told you before, this program continues because you care about it. And I know I'm not speaking to idle people, idle men and women who support our trades or live the trades' lives. I know I'm speaking to men and women who care about their country, who care about their crafts, who care about their members. So I know how much the Hardhats cannot fade away. Because as long as we get up, as long as we tell a veteran they have an opportunity with us, it continues. Word of mouth, posting opportunities on our website. That's how we'll continue to see our program grow, and that's how we'll continue to see our membership grow. My other change to my speech this morning is going to page 6 of the USA Times. On 6, it says, despite the loss in Afghanistan war, business as usual. Business as usual. They're speaking about 38 service members who lost their lives on a Chinook Air helicopter as they were coming in to support Rangers. Many of them Navy SEALs, some other special warfare soldiers, and some of our Afghanistan commandos partners there in the country. Also aware of Sergeant Aidan Gonzalez, Jr. of Bakersfield, California, Sergeant Joshua J. Robinson of Omaha, Nebraska. Both of them based out of Camp Pendleton, lost their lives on Sunday, 2 Marines. Do you have the will? Fitting, is it not? When you look at those words, do you have the will? But the rest that are on there, valor, perseverance, courage, conviction, determination, heart, passion, and pride. Is that not what we all feel? Is that not how we face each day for our members? I imagine those words go through a mind of a person ready to go into action. You're sitting in a base in Kandahar, you're sitting in a base somewhere within Afghanistan, and the call comes in. 120 Rangers firefight. Get on the ground quick as you can. Here's your coordinates. You grab your gear, you put on your ammo, you put on the pouches, the battle gear. It was probably at night, so you're getting your night vision goggles. You're on the chopper, you're going in. Do you have the will? It pertains to us just as it does them. In our fight to ensure that our crafts continue, we have to face it with the same vigilance and courage that they do. We have to look at these conflicts, these issues that step up every day, and we have to face them down. Earlier this year, I attended a graduation from the Marine Corps. And at that graduation, a colonel came out and he told a story about how they were in Afghanistan. And before they took this town, he talked to his members, these young members of his platoon, and he said, we're going to go into this town, and I'm going to kid you not, you're going to face the very worst that we can face this day. We're going to lose Marines, and all I can ask you to do is continue to do your job. Now, I felt that hit me pretty close to heart because it wasn't too long ago that I was in an infantry squad overseas, but more so because my son was standing in that graduating class. And as I looked out in the platoon and I tried to pick my son out, I strained even more. I said, where's my son at? Let me look at him in the face. Because let me tell you, it was no party raising that kid. He was not a good time. So there were good times, but man, he put some gray hairs on me. But I strained to see his face because I wanted to see what he was thinking at that moment. And I couldn't pick him out. I looked in that third platoon, I'm straining. Man, I just can't pick him out. Eyesight's not what it used to be. Camera wouldn't zoom in enough. It was important to me that I could see his face. I could see the other faces in the front squad, but I couldn't see his face. And the colonel continued with the story. And it took me back. I said, I remember talking to my squad when we went in there, and I had a bunch of young knuckleheads with me. And I was trying to straighten them up, tell them, here's what's going to happen. Remember, you watch your six. Check your ammo. Do all these things that are important to make sure we go home. And it struck me so hard that that was my son standing in that platoon, and how important it was that I could see his face. And then it hit me. Every one of those men standing there were my sons, just as they are your sons and your daughters that serve. And the same vigilance that you give to our members in our crafts, the same vigilance they give, and the courage and the passion, the determination, conviction that they protect this country with, all we're going to do is give them an opportunity when they get back, but we have to do it with the same courage, the same conviction. I want to thank you and this union for the opportunities that it's given me when it organized me and put my family on a better path. I want to thank you for support of the Helmets to Hardhats program. And as long as you believe and as long as you try, we'll always all be here. Thank you very much for your time.